Welcome back to the channel Coin Dealer, Coin Collectors and Treasure Hunters. Today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing and mind-blowing stories in the world of numismatics, a tale so incredible that it continues to amaze experts, hobbyists, and collectors around the globe. Yes, we're talking about the legendary and mysterious 1998 D-quarter dollar from the United States that has been estimated to be worth an unimaginable $67 million, a valuation so far beyond its mere 25-cent face value that it has sparked widespread curiosity, debate, and fascination within both the coin collecting and investment communities, and in this video we're going to break down exactly what makes this particular coin so rare, so valuable, and so extraordinary in terms of its errors, minting anomalies, and the bizarre chain of events and possibilities that led to its creation. Beginning with a look into the Denver Mint where it all started, because the D's mint mark indicates that this coin was struck in Denver, a facility that has been minting coins for over a century with rigorous quality control standards, yet somehow, in 1998, under rare and perhaps unknown conditions, a certain batch of quarters emerged with such peculiar characteristics that it challenged the very definition of a standard-issue coin and sparked a new gold rush among collectors hoping to stumble upon a fortune disguised as pocket change. And while millions of 1998 D-quarters were struck that year, this specific coin stands apart due to a confluence of minting errors so rare that they've never been documented together on a single coin before or since, starting with the misplaced mint mark that, according to experts, appears slightly off its usual position and seems to have been hand-punched rather than machine-pressed, a practice that had largely been phased out by the late 1990s, suggesting a potential transitional anomaly or perhaps the involvement of legacy minting equipment during a specific test run or retooling process, which in itself opens up theories about experimental runs or unauthorized trial pieces being released into circulation either deliberately or by accident, and that's only the beginning because aside from the mint mark issue, this coin also shows signs of a double die obverse, a kind of error where the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, causing inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust to appear doubled or slightly shadowed, which not only gives the coin a surreal appearance under magnification but also marks it as a minting anomaly. And then there's the issue of the planchette, the blank metal disc used to make the coin, which seems to have unusual composition or thickness based on its unexpected weight and the slightly off-color tone reported by the few experts who have allegedly had access to images or samples of the coin, suggesting that it might have been struck on a transitional planchette leftover from a previous metal standard or even on a foreign coin blank, both of which would constitute dramatic deviations from standard US minting protocol and elevate the coin's rarity to astronomical levels. And adding to this layered mystery is the coin's edge, which seems to show inconsistent reading, those tiny grooves along the rim of the coin, some of which are reportedly partially missing, smoothed, or only faintly visible, indicating either a strike-through error, a worn die, or possibly that the coin was not properly seated during minting, all of which contribute to its unique physical profile. And when you factor in the possibility of multiple such errors overlapping on a single coin, something statistically improbable to the point of near impossibility, you begin to understand why experts have dubbed it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And if all this wasn't enough, there are also rumors in the collector community that this specific coin displays what's known as a rotated die error, where the reverse side, in this case the eagle, is not aligned in the standard top-to-top configuration but is slightly off-angle, a rare error that by itself can increase a coin's value significantly, but when combined with the previously mentioned anomalies creates a numismatic unicorn that transcends even the most ambitious dreams of collectors and dealers alike. And let's not forget about the provenance of this coin. Although details are shrouded in secrecy and some consider it a myth, others claim that the coin has passed through private hands and high-level auctions without public disclosure, possibly due to its extreme value and the security risks involved, with some speculating that a high-net-worth collector or institution has secured it away from public view, adding an aura of mystique and further enhancing its mythical status. And while it might be tempting to dismiss such claims as urban legend, it's important to understand how the coin world operates, where anonymous sales, private showings, and sealed bid auctions often take precedence over public transactions, especially when the item in question is this unique and potentially priceless. And as with many stories of high-value collectibles, especially in the rare coin sector, part of what drives the value is not just the object itself but the lore surrounding it, the whispers of its discovery, the disputes over its legitimacy, the competing theories about its origin, and the tantalizing possibility that there might be others like it still out there waiting to be found in a roll of quarters or hidden in a forgotten drawer. and the implications of such a discovery ripple through the numismatic world like a shockwave, reigniting debates over minting practices, error classification, and the boundaries between regular issue and pattern coins. And this brings us to an even more fascinating possibility, that the 1998 D quarter in question may have been a trial piece or mint test that was never meant to leave the facility, possibly created during a transitional period or even as an experimental hybrid between design types or metal compositions, and that it somehow escaped the internal quality controls and was released into circulation or retained by a mint employee, adding another layer of intrigue and raising ethical questions that only deepen its mystery. And to date, no official statements have been made by the US Mint regarding the existence or legitimacy of such a coin, which only adds fuel to the fire as the collector community continues to search for clues, analyze eBay listings, scrutinize coin show tables, and cross-reference auction house archives in the hope of uncovering additional details or locating another specimen. And in the meantime, the legend of the $67 million quarter lives on as both a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope, reminding us that incredible treasures might still be hiding in the most mundane of places, that extraordinary value can emerge from unexpected error, and that the intersection of history, economics, and human curiosity can sometimes produce artifacts that transcend their humble origins. So if you're a collector, a hobbyist, or just someone who finds joy in the thrill of the hunt, keep your eyes open, check your change, and remember that the next time you hold a 1998 D quarter in your hand, it might not just be 25 cents, it could be the key to a story, a mystery, or even a fortune. Today's episode will leave you in complete awe, especially if you've ever handled loose change or stashed away old coins without a second thought, because we're talking about a seemingly ordinary yet astonishingly valuable coin, the 1987 D quarter dollar from the United States, which, due to a series of remarkable errors and minting anomalies, has captured the attention of collectors and experts alike and is now rumored in some rare cases to be worth as much as $45 million, an astronomical leap from its mere face value of 25 cents, and in this video we'll explore why this particular coin has become the stuff of legend among numismatists, what makes it so special, and how a combination of errors, mistakes, and incredibly rare mint mark discrepancies have turned it into one of the most elusive and desired pieces in American coinage history. And first off, it's important to understand that the 1987 D quarter was produced at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the Deed mint mark, and while millions were made, which typically implies low rarity, there are a select few quarters from that year and mint location that slipped past quality control with astonishing errors that today are considered priceless due to how drastically they deviate from standard production. And we're not talking about the everyday nicks or scratches but rather significant striking errors, off-center minting, double dies, wrong planchette errors, clip planches, transitional errors, and most intriguingly, the discovery of a highly debated and potentially mythical version of the coin with an inverted mint mark or a misaligned mint mark in such a way that experts believe it points to a rare die variety or an experimental minting process that was never meant to be released to the public. And these anomalies have drawn comparisons to the most famous error coins in history, such as the 1955 double die Lincoln cent or the 1933 St. Gordon's double eagle, and the intrigue surrounding the 1987 D quarter lies in the fact that most error coins are discovered soon after minting, but this particular coin, or rather a group of similar yet extremely scarce 1987 D quarters, began appearing only decades later, leading many to believe they were part of a limited release, a test batch, or possibly even a confidential internal trial gone awry. And some of the telltale signs that separate the valuable versions from the standard coins include a double die obverse, where the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear to be shadowed or doubled upon close inspection, indicating a misalignment during the striking process, which can only happen when the die and planchette fail to synchronize correctly. And another known variation includes a misplaced mint mark where the D is struck either too low, too high, or in an off-axis position, which is physically impossible using standard automated minting equipment, further fueling the theory that these coins were struck manually or under special conditions, possibly even as unauthorized test pieces. And adding to the mystique are examples found with planchette issues, such as coins struck on nickel planches intended for nickels, making them lighter in weight and subtly different in color, which to the casual observer may appear as simple toning but under analysis reveals an incorrect metallic composition. And these errors are not only rare but in some cases entirely undocumented in official mint records, leading collectors to speculate whether they were struck intentionally or emerged due to human error during a transitional phase of minting equipment or materials, and while the majority of 1987 D quarters are worth only their face value, and perhaps a few dollars in uncirculated condition, these exceptional varieties have fetched staggering figures at auctions and private sales, with rumors of a coin changing hands for $45 million in an anonymous transaction that stunned the collecting community and raised serious questions about how such an error could be worth more than some of the most iconic and historically significant coins ever minted, and experts point to a combination of extreme rarity, historical curiosity, condition, provenance, and collector obsession as the driving forces behind such a valuation, with condition playing a massive role since coins that remain in mint state or exhibit full detail with no signs of wear command much higher prices. And imagine finding such a coin in your spare change or among a childhood collection handed down through generations, seemingly worthless until inspected by a trained eye who recognizes the peculiarities that mark it as one of the rarest coins in circulation. And it's these stories, of coins overlooked for decades only to be discovered in a drawer, a garage sale, or an inherited box, that continue to fuel the enthusiasm of collectors worldwide. And one might wonder how to identify if their 1987 D quarter is the $1 million anomaly or just an ordinary coin. And the key is in the details, requiring close examination under magnification to spot doubling in the inscriptions or abnormalities in the mint mark, followed by weight and diameter checks to rule out wrong planchet strikes, and sometimes only metallurgical testing or expert appraisal can confirm whether a coin has the unique characteristics that elevate it from common to historic, and beyond the physical traits. The value is influenced by documentation, grading, and market demand, with coins certified by top grading agencies such as PCGS or NGC commanding higher premiums, especially when given a high mint state grade like MS67 or higher. And although skeptics may question whether any quarter could truly be worth $45 million, the world of numismatics has proven time and again that rarity, combined with demand and a compelling backstory, can drive values to seemingly irrational heights. And in the case of the 1987 D quarter, the combination of a mysterious origin, unresolved minting anomalies, the passage of time, and growing speculation have created a perfect storm that turns a pocket change coin into a potential jackpot. And it's this mystery and allure that makes coin collecting such a captivating hobby, because every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story includes errors, secrets, and a value far beyond what anyone could have imagined. So next time you're holding a quarter, especially one from 1987 with a little d below the eagle, take a moment to inspect it closely, because you might just be holding a piece of American history worth millions, and with so many variations and possibilities, double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, misaligned mint marks, or unintentional test strikes, there remains the possibility that more of these ultra-rare coins are still out there, undiscovered, waiting to turn up in change jars or old coin rolls. And while some might dismiss the tales of the $45 million quarter as exaggeration, the reality is that rare collectibles, like art and historical artifacts, are often valued as much for their story and scarcity as for their tangible traits, and when collectors compete for such unique items, prices can soar to levels that defy conventional logic, making it not only plausible but entirely within the realm of possibility that one of the most mysterious and enigmatic coins in modern US history could fetch such a colossal price. And it all starts with a tiny minting mistake that transformed a common quarter into a legend, so keep your eyes open, keep learning, and who knows, you might just be the next person to discover one of these unbelievable treasures hiding in plain sight. World of numismatics, where tiny metal discs can hold unimaginable value. Today's episode is going to leave you absolutely speechless because we're unraveling the unbelievable story behind a seemingly ordinary 1995 P quarter dollar from the United States that has been valued at a jaw-dropping $99 million due to a stunning combination of minting errors, historical anomalies, and rare production circumstances that have sent shockwaves through the coin collecting community worldwide. And you definitely don't want to miss a second of this jaw-dropping breakdown of how such a humble 25-cent piece can become one of the most sought-after collector's items on the planet. And before you dismiss this as an internet rumor or exaggerated claim, stick with us as we explore every possible detail, every mysterious flaw, and every compelling fact about this coin that could be hiding in someone's pocket change right now, unrecognized, undervalued, and just waiting to be discovered by a Sharp-eyed collector who knows exactly what to look for, because the story of the 1995p quarter is more than just about a coin. It's about mistakes made at the US Mint, overlooked patterns, off-center strikes, double dies, and rare planchette anomalies that have come together in one mythical specimen, giving it an astronomical valuation that eclipses anything you'd expect for a simple clad coin issued in the mid-1990s. And if you're wondering how in the world a coin that millions of people handle daily could somehow transform into a multi-million-dollar phenomenon, well, let's start with the basics and dig deeper from there, because this quarter was minted in Philadelphia, denoted by the SP, the mint mark, which already tells us something important, since Philadelphia minted coins in that era did not always show consistent quality control standards due to the immense volume of coins they were pumping out. And in the chaos of mass production, every so often, a coin like this would slip through the cracks, not just with one error but with a cascade of unique flaws that all contribute to its legendary status. And in the case of the most famous known 1995p quarter, we're talking about a confluence of issues, including a double die obverse where the doubling on inscriptions like "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" is not only visible to the naked eye but so dramatic that it instantly sets it apart from normal issues. And then there's the misalignment of the die strike itself, where the coin appears slightly off-center, making the rim thicker on one side and noticeably thinner on the other, which is a classic telltale sign of a minting mistake. But the real kicker is the presence of a rare transitional planchette error, meaning the coin may have been struck on a planchette intended for a different denomination or alloy composition, which can happen during periods when the mint transitions materials or repurposes leftover blanks from earlier minting runs, and this extremely rare scenario not only creates visual oddities like unusual color toning or weight inconsistencies but also skyrockets the rarity, because only a tiny handful of these coins could ever have been accidentally minted this way. And then there's the matter of the mint mark itself, the SP, which on this particular specimen shows signs of what's known as a repunched mint mark, a situation where the mint mark was stamped more than once and not perfectly aligned, leaving a sort of ghosted or doubled appearance, which is yet another factor that heightens desirability among collectors who specifically hunt for RPMs, repunched mint marks. And when you combine all these factors together, double die, off-center strike, transitional planchette, RPM, and the fact that it was actually circulated before anyone noticed the errors, you have a numismatic unicorn. A coin so rare and unique that no official mintage figures can account for it, and no two experts agree on exactly how many similar examples might exist, if any at all, making this single coin a once-in-a-generation discovery that sent bidders into a frenzy at auction, eventually culminating in the now famous sale price of $99 million, a price tag that not only reflects the coin's intrinsic numismatic value but also the allure, the mythos, and the sheer thrill of owning what could be the most famous error coin of the modern US era. And what makes this story even more incredible is that the coin was reportedly discovered in a random roll of quarters purchased from a local bank by an amateur coin enthusiast who had only recently started collecting and was simply checking for interesting finds under a magnifying glass when they noticed the unusual features, proving that the world of valuable coin collecting isn't limited to museums and wealthy investors but is truly accessible to anyone with a keen eye, a little bit of knowledge, and the patience to look through their change one coin at a time. And it's stories like this that fuel the dreams of collectors everywhere and serve as a powerful reminder that even in the most mundane everyday objects, history, rarity, and fortune can lie hidden in plain sight. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone curious about the potential treasures jingling in your pocket, the tale of the 1995p quarter dollar is an inspiring example of how imperfection can lead to perfection in the eyes of the collecting world, and how every coin has a story, some short, some long, and some worth $99 million.